Hello, everyone. This is Meg, the Inky Nerd. Thanks for joining me for another video on my blog and YouTube channel. Um, so I ended up actually losing a bunch of footage from this, but I did want to kind of show you the beginning of how I kind of made this one rainbow sloth card. And later I'm actually going to show you some additional examples of things you can do. The whole point of this is basically using your stamps in non-traditional ways to kind of get the most out of them. So this sloth image that I'm going to use in a couple of the cards, it's from a Newton's Nook stamp set called In Slow Motion. That's actually like a birthday slash belated birthday set. I'm going to use some other images that are not necessarily images you would think of when you think, Valentine or love card or whatever. Um, but I don't necessarily like the cutesy, like super cutesy images. But I do love critters. And most of the cards that I send are to men. And so I tend to kind of cater a little bit more to that. Obviously, this rainbow, well, it's super duper rainbow. This is basic ink blending. I'm sure that if you've watched other videos, you kind of have an idea about this, but it's three colors of distress ink: picked raspberry, mustard seed, and I believe mermaid lagoon. They make an awesome rainbow. And I'm just gonna, do the pink. The pink mixed with the yellow makes the orange. The yellow mixed with the blue makes the green. And the pink mixed with the blue makes the purple. So you get that rainbow effect. Um, and this is obviously super sped up because, I'm not the bionic woman. Um, so my hands don't move that fast. But yeah. And actually, that little tip, I can't even remember where I picked that up from, but using the back of like a post-it note, the sticky part to put your fingers on so that you don't get fingerprints all over your ink blending surface. That's like a great tip. It's definitely not my idea, but I wish I could remember where I saw it so I could give that person credit. Um, Maybe and if you do, please leave a comment below because I would totally like to give credit where credit is due. So anyway, just ink blending away here, and you can see that I cut a heart out of that panel already. Like I pre-die cut it, and I actually just have it held down in the back with some removable adhesive, so like washi tape. In my case, I'm using some post-it note tape because I happen to have some. Um, so that's just holding it down so that that gets ink blended too, to match the front. Um, and then I am going to spray some water on it to get kind of that droplet effect that you get with distress ink. This is just a sprayer I picked up at my local grocery store. It was like $1.99 or something like that. Because I kind of live a little bit in the boonies, so yeah, I buy things where I find them. And then I'm going to build a shaker card here. Um, so that needs to be fully dry and everything before I can really do anything else with that. So I'm going to work on my stamped images next. But like I said, I'm using an older Newton's Nick stamp set. I think, honestly, it's at least a couple years old. It's called In Slow Motion. It's an oldie but a goodie, seriously. It is a fabulous thing to have. Great sentiments, great images, just a lot of fun. So the sloth is one of my favorites. I also love the turtle, the worm, and the snail because those are like some of my very favorite critters in like the whole world. Apparently, I like slow critters, whatever. Stamping it with Memento Tuxedo Black on a scrap of, it's probably Nina Solar White, Classic Crest 80 pound, because that tends to be what I use for alcohol marker coloring. And there is my oh so very fancy Sharpie marker. I'm going to use that to extend the branch that the sloth is hanging from. It's a similar line. Um, and I mean, you could use any alcohol friendly liner. So obviously, a Copic multi liner or any other multi liner is going to work for this. I don't have any of those. I have a Sharpie. So I'm using a Sharpie. And I'm just kind of just eyeballing it here a little bit. But I'm just elongating it and trying to kind of keep a similar curve and adding some more of those little offshoots, just like the original image has. I'm not worried about perfection here. You can see I totally biffed it there, but I just kind of like made it a little bigger, add a little branch, and it works. I'm going to go ahead and color that with alcohol markers. I have Spectrum Noirs, so I'm going to use some warm grays for the sloth and then just a couple of browns for the branch itself. Really basic coloring, nothing complicated. I'm not going to show you that because I'm not really good at alcohol marker coloring. I've said before, I'm still kind of new to it. So I'm slow and awkward. And then I'm just going to fussy cut that out. And then once I have fussy cut that, I'm going to use a black marker to go around the edges. Not an alcohol marker, a pit brush pen, actually. Because alcohol markers tend to soak into the paper a little too much there. This is some acetate because I'm going to make a shaker card. I don't know how to explain that very well. There are so many other tutorials that show you how to do that. And I really recommend watching some of those people who are like way more experienced. I legitimately have made like 2 shaker cards in my life. This was the second one I made. So, you know, they're not particularly complex, but I am just shaker card challenged, I guess. I don't know. So watch some of the other amazing card makers and they'll totally guide you through the process way better than I can. And then I'm totally going to lose footage in a minute here, but you can see I've got the sloth, the acetate. I'm going to add sequins. I'm going to add a backer. But again, like I said, I basically lose all the footage of putting this together. So it's really, yeah, that fun foam there, by the way, I bought that at the Dollar Tree. It's super cheap. And it's just enough dimension for me. So I really like it. And you get a pack of like a bunch of colors and it's really inexpensive. And so far it's been working really well for me. So I I don't know if it's like okay to like recommend a particular brand of fun foam, but seriously, the cheap Dollar Tree fun foam is great. Um, and this is me, trying to build the shaker, and I do ultimately succeed, but you don't actually see any of that because I don't know, I'm camera challenged or something. Um, so in a minute here, you're gonna see like the completely assembled card. Sorry about that, but like I said, watch some of the other amazing YouTubers who have shaker card how-to videos because you will get like a much better guide than anything that I can provide for the shaker card because I'm too awkward with it at this stage. I'll get better. And once I get better, I will totally make a shaker card video. So there's the completed shaker card. I really like how it turned out. Lots and lots of sequins. They're rainbow, just like the front. And then you can see on the inside, I just stamped a sentiment and then just did some doodling with a white gel pen. These are those other cards that I mentioned. So again, these are all Valentines, but none of them are traditional at all. That one is an Avery L shark with some pattern paper that kind of looks like fish scales on an aqua background. The stripes are just a stripe stencil. And then I just used some shimmer acrylic paint through the stencil to kind of give that stripe detail, add a little more of that pattern paper on the inside, a couple of sentiments, and, it's a great shark Valentine card. Sent it to my nephew, actually, who loves sharks. And, there you go. And then some llamas because, nothing says Valentine's Day like llamas, at least in my world. But then I live in a very special world. So really basic, kind of the same principle, just blended background, cut it out, some cute images, not a lot of pink because I'm not a big fan of pink. It's just a way to kind of stretch your stamps, stretch your supplies, and have a little bit of fun. Make some cards to send to some people. This is another one of those sloths. This is all blue with a little bit of green ink blending to kind of give like a treetop look. Very masculine. It doesn't have to be a Valentine, obviously, but it's Valentine's Day, so there you go. That's kind of what I got. Anyway, I hope you feel inspired. I hope this makes you look at your stamps in a new way and do something creative. And thanks so much for spending some time with me. Have a great day.